We expect it. We know it's coming. What up, fam? You want to do an interview for our YouTube channel? You want to do an interview for our YouTube channel? Good. We got a YouTube channel. Oh, yeah! You want it? You got that, right? Hey, dipshit, come back here. Hey, Antifa, come here. Yeah, I'm a Muslim Republican. What do you got to say? What do you got to say?
I already know all about you.
You called me a chud, right?
You're a fucking chud.
Why don't you explain it? Why don't you explain it?
Chud, kiddo.
Yeah, explain it. Explain it.
What's a chud, bro?
Fuck you, communist.
Where's Becky's dad? Where's Kyle?
Come here. You want to talk? Come talk.
What's the chud mean? What's that?
For running a YouTube channel.
Yeah, we run a YouTube channel.
Hey, I'm just interested. What does the chud stand for?
Oh! He said, what did he say?
What does chud
What did he say? No, repeat
He
it.
said sand nigga. What the fuck?
Racist white liberals! All right, now let's do this interview with this guy, man. This guy been
Man, you
standing
got me
here.
up on here. We up on here.
Hey guys, my name is Salim Juma with the Colored Conservatives. Today, I'm here to talk about our favorite conservative Supreme Court Justice, Brett Kavanaugh, aka Brett, I like beer, Kavanaugh. So, new accusations have unfolded against Mr. Kavanaugh, and we are here to talk about them because I'm really pissed off. I was pissed off the first time the libs did this, and I'm pissed off now. The so-called accuser doesn't actually even remember the incident in question. Not only that, the person who remembered this is actually Max something or other, who went to Yale Law School with Brett Kavanaugh and was a lawyer and opposing counsel for Bill fucking Clinton. And then they want to talk about sexual assault. You're kidding me, right? With that, I mean, other things that we need to talk about are the fact that Christine Ford's lawyer, Deborah Katz, actually said Christine Ford made her accusation as a big part because if Brett Kavanaugh overturned Roe v. Wade, they wanted a asterisk next to his name. Julie Swetnick was proven to be lying and is actually being investigated by DOJ now. So all of these accusations prove to me that the liberals are willing to do pretty much anything to get political victories, even when they're in the wrong, up to and including destroying someone's life, because liberals don't give a fuck about anyone but themselves. With that, make sure you support us on Patreon, support us on Venmo and Cash App. Just make sure you support the channel, because me and Dee, we want to do this full time. And as always, much love to the fans, and stay classy, Seattle. My name is Salim Juma with the Colored Conservatives, and I'm standing here with Jared.
Francesca.
It's a pleasure to meet you guys. And we are moving. Yeah. By the way, I love the hats.
Thank you. It's just there's this girl I like, and it's her beanie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it this girl?
No, this is my cousin.
Oh, okay. Okay, got you.
We're shopping, yeah.
I got you. So, what do you think about the Brett Kavanaugh situation in general?
Well, he was the guy that got accused of like a shit ton of sexual assault, right?
Multiple accusations, actually.
Yeah. Well, I think if that many people have accused him, like, I think on like a base-to-base like thing, if like someone gets accused of sexual assault, you know, innocent till proven guilty, they have to show evidence that proves that they've done it. But since it's so many like people that have accused him of this, it makes it more like believable that he's done it right off the top. I still think you still have to like.
I can understand where you're coming from. So let me give you a little bit of background. So so you know who Christine Ford is, his main accuser, the one that testified before Congress, right?
Don't know who she is, but
she's the doctor with the glasses, blonde hair. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me tell you about Christine Ford. First of all, Christine Ford is actually a left-wing activist. In particular, she's very pro-abortion, which is fine. If you get sexually assaulted, you're still, able to report that. But her lawyer, Deborah Katz, about 5 months ago said very specifically, one of the biggest parts in Christine Ford's accusations against Brett Kavanaugh, and very specifically the way it was dropped, was if he was to overturn Roe v. Wade, it would have an asterisk next to his name because he had been accused of sexual assault. Do you know what Roe v. Wade is?
Nope.
Okay, that is like the mainstay abortion law that was done by the Supreme Court. It's basically, it's not what made abortion legal, but it's like the main Supreme Court case.
Okay, gotcha.
Not only that, but Julie Swetnick, one of his other accusers, she has actually been proven a false accuser numerous times. She accused some people in her workplace and got them both fired, and then was fired later on after they found out it was false. And her accusations against Brett Kavanaugh were actually proven objectively false.
Yeah.
The FBI has, in fact, investigated Brett Kavanaugh numerous times and investigated most of these accusations. The newest accuser actually doesn't even recall the entire situation at all. And the person that's making the accusation is Max something or other, who went to Yale Law School with Kavanaugh, and he was actually Bill Clinton's lawyer, so opposing counsel, when Brett Kavanaugh was on the other side, when he was looking into Bill Clinton's real estate holdings. This guy was the opposing counsel. He was Bill Clinton's lawyer. Now, I just think it's very strange that anybody who represented Bill Clinton is talking about sexual assault.
Yeah.
But what do you think about that? That many of these accusations have been proven wrong, but we're still expected to believe them with no evidence.
How many people, do you know how many people have accused him of sexual assault?
Altogether, I think it was 5 altogether.
5? And how many were proven wrong or like fishy?
Well, as a conservative, to me, all of them. But objectively proven wrong, 3.
Gotcha.
Like, beyond reasonable doubt, proven wrong. Christine Ford's testimony has not been objectively proven false. Just what the lawyer said was extremely fishy. This new accusation, extremely fishy.
So you believe that Christine Ford, the main lady, had like an agenda against him that she wanted to get him
believe
taken
that,
off? I don't find that unreasonable.
The thing about Christine Ford is she was a very left-wing activist, and the way this was done in the Senate, it was immediately dropped after he was going to be confirmed. The way Dianne Feinstein dropped the accusations, the way he was, vilified on social media. And I just want to ask you something, right? What if a girl accused you of sexual assault right now, and instead of going to the police, she went to Twitter, and she said, it was Jared, right?
Yep, Jared.
Okay. And she said, Jared, whatever your last name, raped me 10 years, I know you're fairly young, so 10 years ago you'd be a child, but Jared raped me 10 years ago. I have no proof, but he raped me, and you should take it on faith. And all these left-wing activists said, you know what, let's go destroy Jared's life.
Yeah.
They got you fired from your job, your family disowned you. What do you think?
I don't like to like assume people have done something if there's no proof of it.
Because
that's how the justice system works. And so I think like accusations, I wasn't that educated about it, so I didn't know from what I've told, because like in Seattle you mostly receive leftist media. Like I would say on like a good amount of topics I'm like more conservative myself.
Yeah.
And you really get pushed on like a leftist agenda here.
Yeah.
And so that's mostly what I've heard about. So I didn't know, but thank you for
What about
showing
you,
your point about
Francesca?
it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you're correct and everyone should be innocent until proven guilty, but I also think that it's pretty important to have like a say in what goes on, and I think recently there's been a lot of rape cases coming out, so it's become more of like people being comfortable with talking about it. So I think that there's 2 ways of looking at it, and there's really like, she could be telling the truth, she could not.
Sure.
So
I want to clarify my statements that we should always take every accusation seriously, and it shouldn't be done on Twitter and Facebook. It should be taken to the police and investigated. What do you guys think about the hashtag Believe Women, though?
Well, I think if someone says something, like you shouldn't just like push it away because like it will hurt someone's career or whatever. Like
You should investigate it.
Yeah, of course. But if someone, because there's been many cases where women have just accused men of something, or they've
Aziz Ansari comes to mind.
Yeah, they've like had a sexual encounter with someone and then regretted it and then said, oh, this was rape, because they didn't want to do about it. So I think like you should investigate it, and like you want to believe them.
Yeah.
But if what you've found, like I don't think you can just arrest people just because someone says something. You need like evidence.
Yeah.
Because if I just started making accusations about anyone and it could get them arrested, that would be a bad way to.
No, we actually did this at UW. There was this professor, and he's like, yeah, I believe all women. So the girl that was with us was like, yeah, mister, you touched my butt back there when the cameras were off, so what do you want to do now?
Yeah.
I mean, and he was just like, so do you believe her? And I'm like, no, I know it's objectively false. This was it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Francesca, what do you think?
yeah. Well, I think that it's kind of difficult because a lot of people probably do make up stories, but then a lot of people are telling the truth and others don't believe them. So it's kind of like that gray line of, who do you believe and who do you not? You really need that evidence.
Well,
and
that's
yeah.
the thing, because the system is innocent until proven guilty, right?
Right.
So you shouldn't have to prove your innocence to anyone. They should have to prove your guilt.
Yeah, and then like the other hard thing is that since it's becoming more okay to come out about things, a lot of these cases happened like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, so it's becoming hard to prove them. So it's kind of like you want these women who got hurt to have justice, but it's just hard when there's no evidence. And then there's the people that take advantage of that and try to get something out of it when they didn't have anything going on. So,
Yeah, it's hard because like I've known someone that like has been raped and like nothing happened to the person that like was accused, and even though there's like nothing happened to them, I know he did it because I was there that night, and so like it sucks because like things like that can happen. Like I
Can you clarify that? I mean, what happened? You were there?
basically I was at a party, and there's this girl I know, and this guy who used to be my friend was like kind of hovering around her. Like there was
Being a creep.
Yeah, and like he was like went with her to the bathroom, like lots of stuff, and from like talking to her, she was blackout drunk. And in the morning, like we made it home that night, and in the morning we got called back, and my friend had stayed the night and she had stayed the night, and in the morning she was bleeding from her vagina and had basically not been raped but sexually assaulted. Yeah. And so like while there's like I didn't see it happen, I strongly believe that that's what occurred. And there was like she did a rape kit, like went through the proceedings, and the police officers investigated the wrong people and asked questions to the wrong people. The school did nothing about it, even though they knew about it. He's still on ASR. Like he like does like a lot of shit for our school, and so I think it's like stuff like that can happen.
I
And
think in a post-Me Too world, that's impossible.
It's just like I know it sucks, and that's like something that happened, and so.
Did you have something?
yeah. Well, and like to add to that is that's what makes it difficult to discount women's stories, because for a lot of history, women have kind of been like pushed down to where they like don't have a voice. So now that they do, it's like everything's coming out all at once, and so it's kind of hard to tell because a lot of people are probably telling the truth, and there's these powerful men that are like, we can like do stuff if you tell the
Jeffrey
truth.
Epstein comes to mind.
Right. So like, it's kind of who do you believe, because a lot of the women might have not have any evidence, but they still want justice. But then there's the women that take advantage of the system and try to get something out of it, and that's you should be telling the truth.
Okay, go ahead.
So, what about powerful women? I mean, so you talk about powerful men. That's a good point. But powerful women also do that. I was like, if you have sex.
I can actually give examples. There's 3 big examples. Katy Perry has 2 sexual assault accusations against her. Rose McGowan has a few sexual assault allegations against her. Not only that, she actually grabbed Brad Pitt's face and started kissing him without his consent. Didn't bother, just walked up, started kissing him. That is, by her own definition, sexual assault. Asia Argento, like Rose, actually led the Me Too movement, and she has been accused of sleeping with a 16-year-old and basically grooming him for sex. So if we're going to treat women as equals, we should treat women as equals. We should believe everybody equally and objectively define standards of justice where you're innocent until proven guilty, right?
Not only that, but you hear stories of the job world, of women saying, well, if you have sex with me, I'll promote you. Yeah. Well, that happens with men a lot too, but I think you should consider that it's not just men. Because I think it happens, I don't know, but I'm willing to bet it happens more with women, because they know they can take advantage of people like that.
And then I have one final question. So you mentioned that party and what happened.
Yeah.
We also look at these kind of college rape cases, the quote-unquote rape culture on college campuses, fraternities. My biggest thing that I'm kind of looking at is a culture of decadence, degeneracy, and a lot of drinking, and men and women being together, teens, college kids, getting wasted together and then sleeping with each other, and nobody knows what the fuck happened, and everybody's like, who raped who in this situation, right? If 2 people get drunk, a man and a woman, they both have sex, nobody consented to anybody, who raped who? right?
No, exactly.
So is this causing a problem? And if so, what the hell are we going to do about it?
Oh, one thing to add, he was sober that party, and she was not.
Okay,
Which is
yeah.
why it's like, yeah. So, and also talking, like going back to, we were talking about like women, you know, like being accused of sexual assault.
Yeah.
I do think there's like a terrible double standard in like men versus women and like stuff like this. It's like if a man says he was like, you know, sexually assaulted or something, they're like, well, man up. You could have like defended yourself. You know, like why?
You got hard, it's your fault.
Yeah, it's like since you're a man, and then they're playing into the things they hate about like there's like toxic masculinity and like, oh, you should be a man. Yeah, the people when like men get sexually assaulted, they're like, you could have like defended yourself. You're a man, you know.
It's the same thing with
so-
prison rape. They're like, well, why didn't you fight him off? I don't know. There was 5 people holding me down.
Yeah, so there's definitely double standards in terms of like things like sexual assault with men and women.
Yeah.
And it sucks, and that's just kind of how it is. And obviously, like it'd be good to change that, but it's hard to go against that.
Well, sure. But I do think that this culture of like drinking and partying and everybody doing all this shit and nobody really having a lot of morality, do you think that's kind of like contributing to it?
Well, I think like I don't think drinking and stuff is an excuse to be able to like
Well, of course
stuff
not.
and get away with it. Yeah,
But
like,
if we're creating that culture, right, everybody's wasted, everybody's young, their hormones are all pumping, and they're all doing shit
Yeah.
together, and nobody knows what the fuck happened, who's at fault here? Is it us? I mean, by allowing this?
Probably the rapist, right?
Well, I mean, obviously rapists are at fault, but we're creating a culture that's also allowing it.
That's actually a good point to look at, but that doesn't mean the blame should be on the racist too, or the rapist too, right?
Well, of course, the rapist is objectively the person that is
I was just
wrong.
Is that your stance, or?
It is.
Okay.
No. Do you want to do an interview? We're just finishing this one up.
I just wanted to be aware of this.
Catherine.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Catherine. I love your dog, by the way.
This is Maisie Fufu.
What was it?
Maisie Fufu.
I love it. I love it, Maisie Fufu. Okay. So our sign today says Kavanaugh did nothing wrong. You said you don't agree. Why not?
Because I don't think people risk their lives and their happiness to speak out against someone unless something happened like that. And I've known way too many frat boys.
Mm-hmm.
I know the circles he comes from. I know the behavior that goes on there. My son was part of a frat, and I stayed a weekend in the frat. So I know.
You don't think your son's like that, though, right?
I hope not. We've had conversations. I've seen the hookup closet. The mattress has no sheets.
If somebody made a rape accusation against your son, you would believe your son, right?
We've had conversations about that, and in fact, he's intelligent enough to be ultra sensitive to that and has great respect for women because he has seen people at his school, University of Pennsylvania and Ivy League, where people's educational academic careers were derailed by accusations. And so he is ultra super
And sometimes
careful.
false accusations.
No doubt. There's crazy wackadoodle broads out there, no doubt. But I think that the probability that Kavanaugh did it, the possibility certainly exists. And I think the probability lies very strongly that he did.
So you know who Dr. Christine Ford is, though, right?
I know of her only from what I've read and seen on TV. I don't.
His main accuser, the blonde woman with the glasses. Yeah.
Right.
So her lawyer, Deborah Katz, actually said very clearly 5 months ago at a feminist lawyers conference, not sure what that means, but she very clearly stated that Christine Ford made her accusations in big part in case Kavanaugh decided to overturn Roe v. Wade. They wanted an asterisk next to his name. So because they politically disagree with them, it's okay to charge him with rape?
I don't think it's a political disagreement. I think it's a very realistic fear that affects people's lives.
But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the fact that she wanted an asterisk next to his name in case...
Yes, I agree.
And it's okay to make a false accusation?
I don't know that it's a false accusation. I tend to come down on the probability side that it is not false. I cannot say definitively, and I think it's.
Well, I don't think anybody can, because if we weren't there, you can't say definitively either way. But the problem that we're
civil have different measures of proving beyond whatever their doubt. Different
preponderance versus beyond reasonable doubt. I know, but here's the problem. What I'm saying is, Deborah Katz very specifically said, they wanted an asterisk next to his name just in case he overturned Roe v. Wade. That's terrifying. So if you politically disagree with me because I'm pro-life, you can make an accusation of rape against me just because you disagree with my politics.
If you disagree with me politically because you're pro-life, you can affect my life by not allowing me to exercise choice.
Right, but that
So-
doesn't give you the right to charge someone with rape. I mean,
I think charging and an asterisk are two different things. I also think that I think that your earlier comment about women claim rape falsely would be very believable if you spurned me at a party, if you broke up with me, but that wasn't what happened with her. She has no element for revenge on
But she's
this.
a political activist.
I don't think she was prior to this.
She did. She donated to the Bernie Sanders campaign. She was involved in left-wing politics. She was involved in left-wing politics.
Having an opinion.
She
and
was a
coming-
pro-choice activist.
Okay, then am I an activist because I believe those
No. I
things?
mean, she actually went out and spoke out. I mean, I'm not saying that, she just happened to be pro-choice. She was actually an activist.
I speak out. I educate myself.
So you are an activist in a sense, right? Like I am an activist on the conservative side. Now, let me also tell you, it would be more believable. Who is?
But you can't get pregnant, and your life is not affected by that.
But if it was also my child, I should have a say in that. I don't want to discuss pro-life, pro-choice politics. I want to talk about Kavanaugh, though. So his other accusers.
But his power that comes with his appointment directly affects Roe v. Wade and pro-life, pro-choice politics.
He's actually stated he wouldn't overturn Roe v. Wade.
I believe a lot of people say a lot of things. I see it when I believe it. I believe it when I see it.
So Julie Swetnick, she made a false accusation, one of his accusers. She made a false accusation. It's been proven false by the DOJ, and so did another male that has not been named. This new accusation just came out yesterday. This new accusation, the person in question does not actually remember the incident at all whatsoever because
I've
it
been
was.
to that party, haven't you?
What do you? Oh, sure, but I mean, we need evidence to convict people.
I lived through the 80s, I think.
You can't just accuse people of rape and derail their entire life without objective proof. It's innocent until proven guilty in this country, not the other way around.
It's also not safe in this country to come out and reveal yourself as being raped and being a sexual assault victim. When that becomes
I would
unsafe-
disagree. There are rape shield laws that will protect you.
Did you hear about the woman in Linwood? In fact, they've just made a Netflix thing about it.
I have not. If you can educate me, that'd be great.
It's coming out on one of the streaming channels. It's a woman who was a foster child. She reported the rape. The Linwood police did not believe her. Nobody believed her. I mean, you can point out the exceptions to the people who were falsely accused, but they are so minor. And yes, that injustice is real and unfair.
It is not
But
minor
is
when it
so
ruins your
small.
life.
But it is so small compared to all the other
Are you talking
women.
statistically or just because that's your personal opinion that it's
I'm
small?
talking about the number of women who have been assaulted and not believed and their lives have been ruined are vastly outweigh the number of poor men who were falsely accused and their lives were derailed.
And what if
I
it
said, until
ruins-
that becomes equal, then we can have a conversation.
Well, actually, the statistics. So many feminists say that it's under 2%, right,
Of what?
of rapes that are like rapes that happen, right? Or no, sorry. So false accusations. So feminists say that false accusations number under 2%, but they actually misquote that statistic. First of all, it's 2 to 8%.
Well, and that's why I'm not going to get caught up in numbers or semantics. I'll talk generalities and say that the vast majority, more men are falsely accused. I'm sorry, less men are falsely accused than women who are believed.
Yes, but in this country, you are objectively innocent until proven guilty regardless. Whether it's armed robbery or murder,
Well, we know
people
that's
need
not
to
true
prove
either.
that you're guilty.
Well, it depends upon what color your skin is. See,
What do you mean?
That's a nice ideal. You're innocent until proven guilty, unless you're brown or black.
I
Or
think we'd
poor.
both disagree with that statement, but
Look, I don't know who you are or what your position is.
kidding.
I'm not. You want to do an interview?
My son, my little frat son, got into a scrape in Atlantic City, pushing a shit-faced, blind drunk, pushed some cop into a pool. If he was black or brown, he would not have survived that simply with a lawyer and a which I had no part of. He made the mess, he cleans it up. But I don't know. I don't know that I can have a conversation with you. It's like a conversation with somebody about religion. If we don't both believe in the foundational basis, I don't believe in God, they do, we can't have a conversation.
I disagree. I think we should talk about these things, and I think the fact that we're not talking about these things leads to huge problems because we're not able to actually figure things out.
You think the world is safe for women,
Yes.
and I don't.
Because men are actually the victim of violent crime statistically much more than women are.
Not from women. They're victims of violent crime from other men.
Well, sure.
Not from women. So I would love to share an article with you I had, and it was written by a man, and it talked about what would make it understandable for men about how women feel about sexual assault. And it was, this is paraphrasing very much, but it's along the lines of, instead of women getting sexually assaulted, what if men got kicked in the balls? And you grew up being taught.
I wouldn't say those are the same things. I'd say being raped or sexually assaulted is a lot worse than being kicked in the balls.
But no, we're putting it on a terms in which men will cringe and go, yes, that's a horrible thing.
But
I don't want to.
That's
No,
wrong.
listen.
Men are sexually assaulted many, many times in prison.
Women are sexually assaulted walking down the street. You don't have to go to prison to encounter that. So in any event, along this other line, it was very fascinating the way this man wrote this about how men growing up with this fear of being kicked in the balls, being told to expect it, being told to prepare for it, being told to avoid it, being told it's their fault if it happens, being told that nobody's going to believe you.
I don't think anybody
happens to you.
tells you that it's your fault if you get kicked in the balls.
Oh. No. If a woman gets raped, it's what did you wear? That's your fault. What did
Victim
you
blaming has gone way out of fashion in the last 2 decades. If you are caught victim blaming, they will destroy you.
I think you ought to ask victims if that's true.
I wouldn't. I feel that that was very.
That would be like going to the people who have that experience.
Well, I mean, I could ask them. It's just, it's kind of cringy to try and, like, we're making YouTube videos, so I feel like I wouldn't want to profit off their rape that happened. You know what I mean? But I do think.
Why are you selling this conversation?
Well, we're not selling the conversation. We're just out here to educate people, but we do make money doing this. So.
Well,
I guess what I'm trying to say is, okay, so victim blaming. Why don't we talk about that for a second? So if I wear a MAGA hat and somebody comes up and punches me in the face, is that okay?
no, I would hope people would have enough civility.
What if I get kicked out of a bar for wearing a MAGA hat?
If it's
Honestly, the way we see it, the answer should be pretty simple.
Yeah, it should be pretty simple. Why am I being victim blamed?
I believe in freedom of speech, and if your MAGA hat is your freedom of speech, fine. But if you're in a place to incite, if you go to a gay bar wearing a MAGA, if you go somewhere to incite people.
What about
with
gays
that
for
hat,
Trump?
One of
One of our
Baffles
bodyguards,
me.
actually, one of our security guys is a gay
Baffles
conservative.
Baffles me.
2 of them now. Oh, okay.
I had a neighbor that baffles me.
So here's my thing. Okay. What about having to bake? Do you remember that cake case? The cake case where they didn't want to bake the Christian baker didn't want to bake the cake for 2 gay guys, right? So is this about? Should he have to bake the cake? We're gonna be consistent here, right?
I believe I believe that we as a species will advance exponentially when religion is gone.
Fair enough. I mean, I can see that. I am
once-
religious myself, but I can see the
Once
pros of that
is
statement.
gone,
Yeah.
the world will be a completely different place.
Mm-hmm.
So, my opinions are going to be consistent with that statement I just made, even though it may be in violation of the Constitution, which is
No. It's not about the Constitution. Those are the same thing. Me wearing a MAGA hat to a gay bar and then getting thrown out, or that baking that cake for that gay couple. How are they different?
I think those bakers were crazy. Make the damn cake.
Well, I mean, to me, you're gonna lose it to the, huh?
Who is that guy? Kavanaugh, our woman.
Kavanaugh.
There you go.
Kavanaugh.
Who's that? How you
My
doing,
bad.
man? How you
And
doing,
that
man?
is our world.
No. Kavanaugh, the Supreme Court justice.
Now I enjoyed my conversation with you. Please do some educating.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See ya.
He's a justice.
Yeah, he's a Supreme Court justice. He was accused of rape by multiple people.
Were they females or were they males?
Well, they were women, but 3 of them have been objectively proven false, and 2 of the other ones are very, very, very fishy.
Credible? Oh, fishy. Oh, okay.
Well, liberals would tell you that it's credible.
Okay, now in this type of situation, can they do a lie detector test?
Well, that's not that actually doesn't hold up in court, right? Lie detector tests are not infallible.
Okay, so.
But they have had.
But some of them I heard might hold up in court, but like you said, they're not 100% correct. So. Tell me what to say.
Oh no, you're good, man. We just want to get your opinion. So you want me to tell you what happened?
Yeah, just break it down
yeah.
right quick. We're 5 minutes quick.
What was your name?
Mike, by the way.
Mike. I'm Salim with the Colored Conservatives. So we out here talking about how, first of all, we believe that in this country you're innocent until proven guilty. Problems is when people are accused and immediately on social media they say, believe women, you're guilty without a trial. Just believe them with no evidence.
Mm-hmm.
The end.
Like when they say rape, right?
Yeah.
They automatically believe the woman.
Yeah.
And
You
now.
want to talk about this too?
That's the cat that killed
Yeah.
himself, right?
Who?
That's the gentleman that killed himself,
Oh,
right?
are you talking about the game developer that did? Alec
No,
Halaka?
this is the judge or whatever.
Yeah, this is the Supreme
girls
Court
are accusing
justice.
him of rape.
It's a judge. He wasn't the. I thought
Are
he
you
was.
with? Are you with? Hey,
Yeah,
fool.
Supreme Court
But
justice.
he committed suicide. Am I not?
No. Are you
Okay,
talking about
okay.
the guy that did commit suicide after
was
his accusation? Alec Halaka is a game designer that was accused by notorious false accuser Zoe Quinn, also in the industry, and he did end up killing himself after he was accused. Not only that, his own fucking sister basically said, "Nope, don't blame Zoe. It's okay. Alec brought this on himself." Can you imagine your sister not believing that you're innocent of rape? Like, I can't.
Maybe when he was younger, she caught him doing something. Maybe so.
Actually, that is a good point. But
Family's
still.
supposed to stick with family.
Family's supposed
though.
to stick with family. I mean, if they caught you doing it, that
If
should have
they
been
caught
reported,
you-
though. It should have been reported.
But you know why they don't report it? Because they're scared. Because they'll get split
The
up or
only
something.
bad thing about all of that coming out now with the women's rights thing is because there are men, just like in the justice system, there's convicted felons. There's men that spend, they get free 20 years later through DNA and whatnot and things like that.
Oh, yeah, DNA.
But it's just terrible that, if I had that stigma,
Yeah.
especially being, the person that I am, if I had that type of stigma, like put on me, like a girl was accusing me or something like that, and yada yada.
Your life
it's
would
like,
be
oh,
over.
it's a wrap. It's done. I might,
That sounds like our boy
know,
Richard and
drive you to
yeah.
want to commit suicide too.
Well, yeah, because you can't work, everybody hates you, your family turns against you, your friends turn against
It's
you.
if you
All
do
over a
commit
word.
suicide,
With no proof!
you're automatically guilty.
No
Everybody
proof!
thinks you're guilty. Yeah.
So that's what
Everybody
really
thinks
bugs me out, and I coming out here and all these women are just like, no, he's an asshole. How do you know
yeah,
that?
I've
Why are you
been
just
getting
saying
that
that?
a lot.
Why do you
haven't
just
met the
believe women?
person.
Yeah.
You're just believing what others say. They want to.
And that's the thing. I don't call his accusers bitches or cunts or anything like that. I say, take the accusation seriously. We investigate it.
And that's
And it seemed like it was
I'm
false.
more or less kind of like a feminist, and I still.
So do these
question
women
a lot
have
of it.
reputations of that?
Some of them do.
All these guys really.
I would go for the judge, bro.
Yeah.
I don't think this happened.
And we just want people to be treated fairly, bro. That's it.
That's what
Like
I'm
if you
saying.
got accused today, if somebody else, okay, so
Oh,
if
that
somebody
would ruin my
accused you,
life and
well, we're
everything,
going to
dude.
take the accusation seriously, man.
I was just gonna ask if I could buy a cigarette off somebody for 50 cents.
Sorry, bro. Hey, you was here?
I just vape.
What are you at?
Hey, thanks for the interview, boys.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, you guys got a lot of balls. I'm glad somebody's doing something, speaking on behalf of the men that
Yeah,
are
man.
innocent. 'Cause